Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Faith, and today guys I'll be checking out race hustler Sonny HOSTIN meltdown after being called racist for making racist comments. And you guys, I'm super excited for this. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing. Give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And without much ado, let's see what this video is all about.
Have many conservative values that I will talk to you about. And so if you look at your network that you're standing behind, yes, and when you look at your network that you're standing behind, you're saying that you look at Chris Cuomo.
I feel like that's an oxymoron, a black Republican.
All right, guys, so I absolutely love this story right here, okay? As one of the cackling hens on The View, Sonny HOSTIN is complaining about getting accusations of being a race hustler, a race baiter, on her social media feed. So she went on The View and complained about this, right? She doesn't like being called racist for what she claims is calling out racism. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, is this a glorious, glorious, glorious topic to cover, right? As again, The View's #1 race hustler is complaining about being called a racist, and I want to talk about that. Roll the clip.
Well, and he also, I mean, my good friend Bakari Sellers called him out and said that Tommy Tuberville can go to hell. The fact is he made tens of millions of dollars off unpaid black labor men as a football coach. He literally has the stature he has because people went out there and assumed the risk and incurred the risk of concussions, playing hard and everything. And I think so that's one point to point out. And I think when you talk about reparations, it's such a hot button issue. The minute you start talking about reparations, people call you a racist. And I've always said, please, people need to start just looking up what the definition of racism is. It's really a power dynamic. It's not just about the color of your skin. And I think when you talk about those who committed crimes that owe reparations, those are the people that committed the atrocities of slavery, who stole land, who killed indigenous people. Today is Indigenous Peoples Day. Yeah, those reparations are still owed. And so to sort of try to subvert the conversation and bastardize the conversation and call people racist because you call out racism is something that I get to experience every single day on social media. Thank you very much. I am somehow a race baiter and a racist because I call it like I see it. And I think it's being used as a political wedge issue now. Everything is racist. Everything is racist, especially if you call it out.
Wow, a liberal race baiter complaining about how everything is called racist nowadays, right? Again, this is coming from a liberal race baiter who believes that people are calling her racist because she's pro-reparations. I'm gonna tell you something, Sonny. That's not why people are calling you racist. People are calling you racist because you've made comments that suggest that you are racist. Like when you told Lindsey Granger, who's a black Republican, that she can't be a Republican because she's black.
I have many conservative values that I will talk to you about. And so if you look at your network that you're standing behind, yes, and when you look at your network that you're standing behind, you're saying that you look at Chris Cuomo.
I feel like that's an oxymoron, a black Republican.
You feel like it's an oxymoron?
I do.
Why? Your friend right here is a Republican.
We had this conversation many times.
You do, and you say you feel like it's an oxymoron that you're Catholic, but you also are pro-life.
I don't understand either.
No, you don't understand yourself then. You have disagreements.
I understand myself. I don't understand either of
this, but it's not a personal conversation.
Yeah.
We're having a personal conversation about CNN.
Or the time that you told Anna Navarro that she can't be a Republican because she is Latina.
So, I mean, Anna and I have this argument all the time. I always say, why are you still a Republican?
Why are you still a Catholic? You don't agree with everything about the Catholic Church?
Yes, but the Catholic Church did not try to destroy democracy in this country. That's very, very different. We're talking about a political party that doesn't even exist anymore.
What party was Abraham Lincoln?
Your party.
The Republican Party.
Of course, there was
Who helped pass the Voters Registration
what you
Act
have
the
to
first time?
understand is the Republican Party that you loved doesn't exist ananymore.
No, but I'm
it's
not.
The party of insurrectionists. It's the party of traitors. It's what was that?
White supremacists.
White supremacists. It's not the party that you love.
What you don't understand is that no matter how much you want it to happen, the Republican Party is not going to disappear. And so in my mind, what we need to do is have two strong, healthy parties competing for your vote and my vote.
You're the only non-loca in the party at this point.
That's not true.
Anna, what are you running? What are you running?
I have 0 intention of running, but I'm
That's
not
part
the
of
only
the
no
issue.
loca. There's a lot of people who are supporting people like Liz Cheney, like Mitt Romney, like Adam Kinzinger,
Yeah, but
Lauren
you know,
Boebert.
Can I submit also that Ben?
Or the time where you said that Nikki Haley, who's an Indian woman, her name can't actually be Nikki because she's Indian.
And Nikki Haley, the chameleon, and Liz Cheney, who's
Flip-flop.
the savior.
I disagree. I think that Nikki Haley was an incredibly effective governor
her
of
real
South
name
Carolina.
again?
Wait, Alyssa, I have a question for you. Aside from Ron DeSantis, a lot of people don't go by their actual real
What is her name?
I believe it's, I don't want to mispronounce it. It's Indian, but she's her background's
She doesn't
Indian.
necessarily, I think if she leaned into...
A ton of people don't go by their color. Wait, a serious
question.
question. Just real quick, because the Nikki Haley conversation came
Yeah.
up. So Nikki Haley's gone by Nikki since she was a child. It's documented in high school. I wouldn't be shocked that as an Indian woman growing up in South Carolina at that time, she actually did to avoid prejudice. So I just want to be careful about critiquing her for going by the name she's always
There are some
gone
of us
by.
that can be chameleons and decide not to embrace our ethnicity so that we can pass.
Sonny, I
so
don't
that
think
we
that's
have
fair.
to
You
erase
go by
it.
a different name. Yeah, I didn't want to be the one to say it.
Most Americans can't pronounce Asuncion because of the undereducation.
Nimrod, I think hard to say too. I don't blame.
Yeah. Nikki Haley, who's an Indian woman who actually goes by her real name, unlike Asuncion, right? Sunny Holston, who does not go by her real name. She needs to embrace her culture more, right? She needs to embrace her color and her ethnicity more, according to Sunny Holston, who claims not to be a racist, who's upset that she's being called racist. But she's not the only cackling hen on The View that routinely gets called out for their apparent racism. Like, for example, that one time where Joy Behar did in air quotes when describing Clarence Thomas, basically doing air quotes when calling him a black man, implying that he's not actually really black because of his political viewpoints.
You know, you could make the case that somebody like Amy Coney Barrett was put in there because she's a white woman who they say, well, she'll go against abortion rights, and she's a woman. So that was deliberate, I think. Clarence Thomas, a black guy, a black man, a justice, okay, I'll give it to him. He's a smart guy. But he is to the right of Attila the Hun, this guy, and they put him in there thinking, oh, a black man will go against voting rights, which is what he does.
And it was,
I love this, right? I absolutely love this, okay? Joy Behar, Amy Coney Barrett is a woman, right? A woman, right? Because she goes against abortion, which they think that in virtue of being a woman, you're supposed to be pro-abortion, right? So she's not really a woman. And Clarence Thomas ain't really black because he's against so-called voting rights, okay? Again, the racism on The View is so rampant that it's amazing that people like Sunny Holston get so upset when she gets called out on it. But you know what the excuse is? It's, I can be racist and you can't, because racism, by her definition, the woke liberal definition, it's a power structure. I am inferior to whites, right? Whites are more powerful than me, which again is, in my opinion, if you go by the real definition of racism, that's a racist viewpoint in and of itself, to believe that you are inferior to somebody based off the color of your skin. But she says, because I'm inferior to whites have all the power, therefore I can be as racist as I want to be. Okay, I can say whatever I want about white people. I can call them white supremacists. I can call them bigots. I can say all the racist things in the world that I want, including about so-called people of color when they don't agree with me politically. But if you call me a racist for being racist, I'm going to boo-hoo on and cry about it, right? That's not fair game, okay? Ain't it amazing how that works? But see, in her head, she thinks that she's being called racist because she's calling out racism. Calling out racism is not telling Ana Navarro that because she's Latina, she has to think a certain way. Or telling Lindsey Granger that because she's black, she has to think a certain way. Or telling Nikki Haley that because she's Indian, that she can't have the name Nikki. Right? That is not fighting racism. You're actually being racist. You're showing prejudice, antagonism, and discriminating against an individual based off the color of their skin. That's exactly what you're doing, which is the actual definition of racism. But here's the thing. I understand that a lot of you guys, are tired of the race conversation. You don't like conservatives calling the left racist and having both groups go back and forth with each other with, oh, you're the real racist. You're the real racist. No, you're a racist. You're a racist. I 100% get that. I 100% understand that. And quite honestly, I'm tired of it as well too. However, there's a very, very, very disturbing trend that is happening in this country when we're talking about the race conversation that we have to push back against. And that is anti-white racism, which is becoming rampant in this country. It is being promoted by the Democrat Party. It's being promoted by the mainstream liberal media. And it is being done overtly. Okay, we have policy changes, things being implemented based on discriminating against whites. And that type of racism has to be called out. So yeah, you got to get into the back and forth about who's the real racist when you have one side of the political aisle openly discriminating against a group of people, which is not something that you can say is happening on the right. Again, the left's accusations of racism against conservatives is always something where they have to extrapolate, right, to figure out, okay, how is this racist? How can we spin this as racist? It's never anything really overt. On their side, the racism is just in your face. It's right there in your face, okay? Again, I've just showed highlights of it, right, from Sonny Holston. But what's really in your face and what is really troubling in regards to the racism coming from the left is the anti-white racism that has to be addressed, because it is going to lead us down a dark path in this country that I do not want us to go, right? And that is why I'm so passionate about this. This is why I spend so much time, talking about the whole race thing. And most of the time when I'm talking about race, I'm actually talking about anti-white racism, pushing back against anti-white racism, which in virtue of doing that, I get to the point where, hey, I have to call out all forms of racism, but that's me being consistent. That's me being consistent, unlike the left, who does not care about racism against whites, but they claim they care about racism against blacks, except racism against blacks that, they don't agree with is totally fine, right? And Hispanics and Asians, racism against so-called people of color that Democrats don't agree with is totally fine, right? And that stuff has to be called out and addressed, mainly because it is connected to the overarching anti-white racism that's going on in this country, okay? So, with that being said, again, I find it hilarious how Sonny Holston is boo-hoo whining and crying about being called out on her racism while she says racist things on this show, right, almost on a daily basis. And she loves trying to accuse other people of being racist when they don't say nearly as racist things as she says, right? How many times has she called Ron DeSantis and Trump racist bigots when I have never heard her say some of the things that she said, okay, on The View, which, again, can be classified as racist. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
You guys, that was such an interesting one. I love to listen to the ladies on The View because they always crack me up. Let me know what your thoughts are on this particular one. Is Sonny Holston a racist because she keeps making racist comment? Let me know what you guys think about this video. It was very, very funny listening to them, and oh my gosh, you guys, I had fun reacting to this video. If you guys totally enjoyed watching, give it a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And this is me officially signing out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.